Hi everyone, and welcome to Almost Cancelled. I'm Peter, and I'm joined with Connor.
Hey guys.
We are going to talk about Killjoys Season 2, Episode 10 is the season finale. It's called How to Kill Friends and Influence People. Full spoilers for the episode as always. I almost said the title wrong again, because it's named after a movie that came out a few years ago called How to Lose Friends and Alienate People, and I almost said alienate again, but...
Yes.
But yeah,
It's a good title.
How to Kill Friends and Influence People is a very good title. So, finale. And it was good.
I enjoyed it, yeah.
It was pretty great, actually. It's funny, because I wasn't sure if I was going to think it was great at a certain point. Because early on in the episode, it felt like Johnny's feelings for Pawter almost got swept under the rug. Because he seemed to be acting normal for a while. Now, obviously, it came back round. But for a little while, I was thinking, oh, this is kind of weird how he's not. But secretly, he was plotting. So,
He was getting ready for stuff.
so that's all fine. So Klein shows up, following Fancy, who's already arrived, and he shows that he has poison that can kill the ooze. Because unlike him and some of the first batch that were like dosed with it way back when, which is now centuries ago, because he's hundreds of years old, and he still kept like part of his humanity or whatever. All of the new Sixties are all just like slaves to whoever dosed them, basically. And the evil Dutch is like amassing an army to come in and take the quad. And Delcea has been secretly manipulating in favour of this because she's been promised the reward of the ooze so she can have an eternal life and probably other stuff too. But so that's the sort of the mythology
Sounds
dump.
really convoluted when you put it like that, doesn't it?
Yeah, that's the mythology dump we get early on. So all boils down to they have to find the source of the ooze, because if they poison the source of the ooze, then all of the Sixties made from that ooze. Although they very clearly tell us that that's not the only source. So
They do.
So it's only the ones from Archon who get destroyed. But so that's most of the ones we know. But it means there still could be Sixties out there.
It clearly implies there's more.
Yeah. So it's this tree that's in this high security safety deposit ship thing. And they have to go in, and Dutch pretends to like take her royal mantle back and all that, so that she can, walk in and be rich. And Klein's like our servant, while the Dav and Fancy are the bodyguards, and it's kind of a heist.
But it really starts bringing stuff together from throughout the season. Like all the Scarback stuff kind of comes together and plays into this as to how they find it all.
Oh yeah, actually, I was laughing a lot when Dutch ripped the page out of their Bible or whatever it is.
Yeah. He looked horrified.
Yeah, that was pretty funny. So that was all good stuff, and it was kind of like the first half was fine. The one scene that I really liked in the first half, and again calling back to last week when we said that Dutch and Johnny, their conversation last week, their scene was like a highlight of the show. I was feeling similar vibes early on when she went in to see him towards the start. And enjoyed that. But the second half of this episode is where it really kind of gets interesting, because Klein basically, like, the poison doesn't work directly on the ooze. You have to infect the Six, and then the blood from the Six will infect the source. So he sacrifices himself. In a pretty decent scene. Like, I thought they played Dutchie's, like, I hate this guy, but I still don't necessarily want him to die. Kind of.
Yeah.
They played with that really well. And some other points actually that came up about Evil Dutch is that Evil Dutch is his daughter, but Klein doesn't know why Dutch looks like her.
See, this was the one thing I'm not sure that I like or not. Maybe Alternate in season 3 will get a reason, but it just being pure chance.
I don't think for a second it's chance. All I think that means is that Klein doesn't know why.
Quite possibly.
I don't think for a second it's just coincidence. Whether it's...
But the coincidence that he runs into her, maybe? Like, was it planned that he'd run into her? Like, this is what I mean. It's a lot of things that wants me to swallow.
Maybe. But even then, I could see there being an explanation for how he's somehow thrown against her.
Like I said, it's something that I'm kind of gonna reserve judgment until season 3, and if see if we get a bit
But
more on it.
but it's one of these things. One of the things in the show with the Scarbacks and all that is that faith and destiny do play a role in all this.
They do.
So it's not really much of a stretch for to just tell me, oh, it was destiny that made him run into her.
Sure, but I don't particularly like it either. That feels kind of a little bit lazy at the same time.
Um,
To me, at least. It's probably the thing I'd like least about this entire episode.
Fair enough. That in particular doesn't bother me. Mainly that's due to certain other shows that I really like that use destiny as a plot device. Admittedly, they do it much better because they make a bigger point of like, wait, this is weird how this just happened. Like they really, you know.
Yeah, it feels like it was just brushed over really quickly. I think that's my problem. It's not just that it was what it was. It was that it was just kind of like, oh yeah, that's just how it is. Never mind. I'd like again, they could go into this in season 3 and give me more, and I'll feel much better. But if that's it, I'm not particularly happy with it.
For him finding her, I'm not sure they will. But as for why she looks like her, I absolutely think there'll be an answer for that.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, so he sacrifices himself to kill the Sixties, which works. Fun stuff going on while this is happening, actually, is Dav and Fancy are sort of like pinned together, and Dav's like, wait, you heal from anything but
From brain damage, right?
from brain damage. Like, yeah, why? Don't say human shield. Cut to him using him as a human shield, and him shouting out human shield bitches. Proper fun. So yeah, there's some witty, like, you know, buddy cop banter going on.
There was a lot of witty stuff in this.
Yeah, because even at the end, it's funny because we've joked all season about possible people joining the crew, and at the end, it almost feels like Fancy is joining the crew.
It does, doesn't it?
It really does, especially since we've lost someone. Johnny is leaving the crew, and the reason why he's, at least at first, I'm sure he'll be back, but the reason why he's leaving, of course, is that he assassinates Delcea. Because one of the things they throw in the middle of this episode, it almost seems random actually, is we cut to Delcea, and she gets a message from Klein, and at the time we're like, oh wait, so Klein's maybe, you know, because we don't know if we can trust Klein. You know, he's always been kind of a shady guy, and we're like, oh, is he like setting them up? Is this, you know, backstabbing the Killjoys? And then the rest of the episode plays out, and it actually occurred to me, like as he was like sacrificing himself very heroically, I'm like, what the hell was that message then?
I'll be honest, I kind of got swept up in the moment and forgot about the message.
It occurred to me, I think it was as she was holding him, I'm like, wait a minute, what about that message? What was that about with Delcea? And then of course it turns out Johnny sent the message, he manipulated it and assassinates her.
One hell of a moment as well.
Yeah, it's a good moment. Yeah, it's a really well played moment, both in terms of acting and just the way it kind of.
Because even though the scene's playing that way, I still didn't feel like he was going to kill her. Like it's still.
It's because it's kind of almost out of character for him, but you buy that he would have changed to this because of what happened.
Yeah, in his grief, he's done this. Yeah. You get it, but it's like you say, it's not what you expect of him either.
Yeah. In fact, one of the most touching moments of the episode, there was another good moment with Dutch when he goes to console her and they have a conversation. But one of the touching moments is actually between Johnny and Lucy. Because
I loved it.
As Johnny's trying to leave, Lucy stops him and, like, you know, it's like, you've booked travel across here and here, like, were you not going to say goodbye? And, like, it was actually kind of sweet. And the music came in and I was like, oh, like...
Especially after, this is not long after they followed up on the joke from last week with Lucy. Where when he was flying the ship and doing all the dogfighting stuff, what is it, put on your dancing shoes. She goes, I don't have shoes, I'm a ship. Just a perfect playback to the thinking pants, whatever it was.
Yeah, last week, yeah. So that was a really sweet moment. It was a really sweet moment. And then he runs into Clara with the machine gun arm to his, called Alice. And I thought this was, like, I like seeing her again, and I like that he's got a buddy. I do have to admit, though, I think it's really weird that she was introduced in, the first episode, maybe the second episode of the season, and she literally only showed up again like 5 minutes or even 2 minutes before the end of the episode, the finale. It felt like I was expecting her to pop up like, you know, a few episodes before the end and be here for whatever the fight was going to be. And I kind of forgot about her just because, well, the show didn't bring her up.
Because she didn't, yeah. I like that she didn't just show up of her own accord. That Lucy contacted her. She's like, you need someone with you. And she's got a gun for her now.
Yeah, also a good line. So that sets us up for season 3. So he's off with her. And I'm sure they'll come back. And hopefully, for the love of God, like, just let her join the team. When he reunites with the team, have her stay.
Someone needs to join this goddamn team already.
And Fancy, like, let him join the team. I like him. He's a good character.
Throw in Pre. Just throw in the lot.
Yeah, sure. And yeah, then we get a little thing with Dutch and Dav and Pre in the bar, and Fancy's there, and she basically makes the like, we won this battle, but the war's not over. She's still out there somewhere, and it's, you know, she's amassing an army. She's not gonna go down easy, and I'm not willing to just win a battle. Like, you know, this is, you know, we're going to go win this war properly, which, you know, works well. It means they've won the fight for the season, but there's still a bigger threat to deal with, which sets up season 3 quite well. And for the first time in present day, I believe, we see Evil Dutch, who obviously I can't remember her name because I keep calling her Evil Dutch.
Something Al something.
You did this last week.
I did. Hang on.
Well, in the meantime, there was actually a moment halfway through the episode, maybe even later than halfway, where I was actually starting to think that there was going to be a twist because we hadn't seen Evil Dutch and Dutch together yet. In fact, we haven't even seen Evil Dutch in present day at all. And I was thinking maybe...
Were you still thinking it was still her?
I was thinking maybe it was still her, or there was going to be some kind of swerve on it until the end when we see... And to be fair, they can still swerve us here. Like, this doesn't necessarily disprove any of this, but we do see Evil Dutch, like, on her pure white ship that pure looks demonic on the outside. And
I think what disproves it more than anything, though, to be honest, is Klein.
Yeah, it's Klein's, the way he talks about it. Yeah,
he talks to them and is aware they're two separate people.
It was just the way that we hadn't even seen her at all. We'd seen flashbacks of her, but never anything like to suggest she's even around in present day.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I did like her backstory a bit though, because obviously, like, Klein said to Dutch she wasn't supposed to have that box yet and that name, and it was like the idea that she'd gone crazy because she was too young when she got infected by the goo.
Yeah.
And it was like, well, someday you might need to take her out.
Yeah, and she may be psychotic. Or she is psychotic, and you'll have to deal with it. So no, I thought it was a good way to end the episode. I thought it was a good setup. I think the cliffhanger here, if you can call it that, maybe it's not as much of a cliffhanger this year, but I liked the ending to this season more than I liked the ending to last season. Which, to be fair, is probably just true of the season in general. I thought the season overall was better, but
definitely, yeah.
Like, you know, like Dav waking up on Archon last season compared to like the two things here where Johnny's leaving the ship with, you know, Clara, and Dutch is declaring war essentially on the real big bad, who they've really been building up to, like, since the show started in a lot of ways. Like,
yeah.
You know,
but much more directly this entire season.
Well, yeah, exactly, yeah. Like, obviously it started with a very sort of vague about the Nine and the rack, and there's something going on, but we don't know what. We introduced the Sixties, then we introduced that there's someone who looks like her, and, you know, like, it's been building. It's all been building to
And
this.
Also, we've kind of overlooked a very major point here.
Go on.
The goo is sentient. It's an actual race.
Yes, that was something they brought up in this episode.
And they're the ones coming for war. They want to take over the entire system because they've got the sources of the stuff there. Yeah,
which does make me interested about Evil Dutch, because Klein said that all the new ones are all basically just like controlled, but she, much like him, would have been in that first batch of people infected. So is like her psychotic nature, like her humanity,
like a dueling sort of thing,
yeah, like her being this dead set on helping is actually the humanity of her, because her humanity's been corrupted because she went psychotic while this happened. Like, you know, rather than just being, whereas he seems to be quite, you know, compos mentis, you know.
Yeah, but I really like the idea that we've got two threats, and we've got the personal threat of this thing that looks like Dutch, and obviously that connects her, and it's kind of like almost family ties with it with Klein.
Mm.
But then we've also got this kind of essentially an alien invasion threat as well,
Yeah.
which is like much bigger. And I think it's nice that it's managed to build to both of those naturally at the same time.
Yeah, that's good. So, I mean, we know season 3's coming. We got that news this week, so that's good. If I have any complaints about the episode, is that while Johnny was like dodging those two ships in Lucy, some of the turrets of the big ship looked a bit really fake.
Yeah, but for the most part, it's pretty good for sci-fi.
Oh no, don't get me wrong. The ships typically look quite good. It was just the turrets, because the turrets sort of spun around and started firing. Every time there was a turret, the turret looked really, dodgy,
Yeah.
CG. Otherwise it was fine. But because it happened like 4 times in that scene, it stuck out to me.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's the Killjoys finale. Let us know what you think in the comments below, and like and subscribe, all that jazz. Find us on Twitter at mild_fuzz, and of course we will be covering more stuff from SyFy in the coming months. Van Helsing, which we've already done the pilot for. I'll make sure there's a link in the corner, and there's another pilot in SyFy starting towards the end of September, which we'll also give a look at. So. And I can't remember the name of it, obviously. Otherwise, I would tell you the name of it. But
Van Helsing's back 23rd, I think. So we'll have the review of episode 2 up.
Yeah.
Not long after.
And it's the week after that. I think it's called Channel Zero is a new show.
I'll be honest, there's far too many pilots for me to remember what's what anymore.
There's 25 pilots that we're covering over this month and next month. So if it feels like we're not remembering all of them, that's why.
We're not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's 25 of them. But yeah, that's coming. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you next time.